Labor has also made gains in the upper house, meaning the government will only need to negotiate with the Greens in the Senate. Joining us now is the Independent Senator for the ACT, David Pocock. Appreciate your time, Senator. Thanks so much and congratulations. You doubled your vote on Saturday night, a huge achievement for you personally. What did this election tell us, do you think, about voters' appetite for independent candidates?
Afternoon, Ash. Thanks for having me. Yeah, obviously a resounding victory for the Labor Party, but I don't think this is a vote for the status quo. We saw an equal swing towards independence. And I think this next parliament is really tasked with having grown-up conversations and really pushing forward on things like housing, cost of living, integrity in government. These are big tasks, and I think they're going to take some ambition to actually have the hard conversations around structural change, which neither of the major parties seem to want to go near during the election campaign.
Does it worry you that with such a strong Labor majority and the new makeup of the parliament that independence could be sidelined, that your voice might not be heard as loudly and clearly as it was in the last parliament?
We've seen in the past independents who are listening to their communities, pushing on the issues that matter, gain traction. You only have to look at Cathy McGowan and Helen Haynes with the National Anti-Corruption Commission. And so I think in this next parliament, the government will talk a lot about mandates. Every independent and minor party that arrives there has their own mandate from the people that elected them. And I'm very committed to continue to be accessible and accountable to the people in the ACT. And the thing that I've heard loud and clear from them is that they're sick of tinkering. They want politicians to actually be willing to stand up to vested interests and to deal with some of the root causes of the big challenges we're facing as a country.
One of the Liberal Party's big cost-saving ideas was based around cutting the public service in Canberra. Is there fat there to trim, do you think? How do you think that policy impacting your home territory might have played out for the Liberals?
I was very concerned about it on two levels. One, just the economic hit to the ACT would have put us into recession, and made it very hard for the Canberra Liberals to be campaigning in this election when so much of the coalition's policies was centred around Canberra bashing. And I think the second bit is on the ideological point of view around the public service, and rather than valuing them, yes, pushing the public service to be more efficient, to do better. But not this kind of denigrating of the public service, because we saw under the Morrison government that a lot of those jobs were simply done by external contractors at a huge cost. So I think the conversation should be around how do we improve the public service? How do we ensure that we have the capability that we need, that we use outsourcing and contractors where appropriate? But also let's look at where we can actually save and spend money a lot better. And that is around procurement. It's something I've pushed really hard in this last parliament around procurement, ensuring that Australian businesses, sovereign Australian businesses, have a level playing field in actually getting the tens of billions of dollars that the government spends every year. I think that's where you can see both building our future here in Australia, having sovereign capability, and also saving a lot of money if we get that right.
Labor's Katie Gallagher has reflected on the results in the ACT, and she made a comment saying that it can be easier to be an independent. How easy or otherwise is it to be an independent battling a federal election campaign?
I certainly wouldn't call it easy. Yeah, as an independent, I'm very aware that not everyone voted for me. Not everyone likes me in the ACT, but I represent them. And with only 2 senators, when I cast my vote, that's not my vote. I'm voting on behalf of people in the ACT. And so I go out of my way to consult widely, to hear a very wide range of opinions on things, to consult with experts. And I think that's when you get better outcomes. I've seen in the Senate when the crossbenchers held the balance of power in this last parliament, we got better outcomes when it comes to legislation, looking after small business, having more ambition when it comes to things like housing. So that's an easy accusation to throw our way, but we're the ones doing the work of actually working out how we're going to vote on every single amendment that gets put up in the Senate. That running, I had over 50 public town halls, round tables, mobile offices to hear from people in the ACT. And I think more and more people are seeing community-backed independence and saying, well, this is a more constructive politics. This is someone who's accountable directly to me, who doesn't have to toe a party line.
Independent Senator David Pocock, really appreciate you sharing your reflections on the weekend result with us, and congratulations again. Thanks.
Thanks, Ash. Thanks for having me.